Hey y'all, Cory here. I am a naturalist and writer based in San Antonio, Texas. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to harvest and brew your very own Yaupon tea from the leaves of the Texas native shrub or small tree, the Yaupon holly. Interestingly, Yaupon is the only known plant native to North America to contain caffeine. And as well, I'm out here in my front yard, in my own landscape, not in some natural space, because as well, Yaupon holly has become one of the most widely utilized plants throughout landscapes in Texas and as well the southeastern United States, its known native region. And for good reason. We've talked about the Yaupon holly here on this channel before. Be sure to check out that past video. But it's an extremely versatile and resilient plant, and an interesting one as well, quite valuable for wildlife. So be sure to go check out that video. But here we're going to be talking about how to enjoy this plant in your landscape in a way that you may have not expected you would, by harvesting its leaves and brewing those leaves into a caffeinated tea. So stay tuned to the end of the video where I briefly summarize a bit of the history of Yaupon and why shrub is not as popular as it might be in the context of caffeinated beverages throughout North America. But in the meantime, we'll start with step one here, which simply is harvesting the leaves. And so instruction, as I've researched, it doesn't seem to matter the time of year in which you harvest the leaves. They can be young leaves or old leaves. We're here entering late spring, just about summer. It's quite hot here in San Antonio. And so as I'm thinking about what I'll clip off, you know, this might not be the best time to clip any plant kind of late growing season. If you're trying to curtail its growth maybe, which we might with our home orchard. But, you know, for other things that you're trying to grow, you might want to be hesitant to be clipping off new growth at this period in time. Nonetheless, you know, our Yaupon's quite shrubby, and so I think I'll feel okay about cutting off some less desirable branches right now, some small branches for us to get a good sample size for leaves to then roast and brew. So, gonna get to clipping. It does seem like this Yaupon will be fruiting this year. I see some green berries emerging already. So I'm gonna be clipping where I'm not seeing those to make sure that I don't disrupt any fruiting. And as well, you know, just what I might prune anyways, just for the sake of what would help shape this Yaupon holly and its growth later on. Okay, got myself some cuttings here. Time to clip them down and strip them of the leaves. Okay, got a decent batch here of diverse set of leaves. You can pull out any real major or noticeable imperfections, or spiders for that matter. But, you know, some young leaves, some older leaves. This is a pretty small collection here. You can pull out, you know, significant size stems. Otherwise, they should roast down pretty significantly. But the next step here is to take them to the kitchen and throw them in the oven. Okay, so first we'll get our oven preheating to 350 degrees. And while that preheat is taking place, we're gonna go ahead and take our Yaupon holly leaves and we're going to spread them out in a cast iron pan like this. You can also use a normal baking sheet, no problem. All right, and with that, my sous chef and I are gonna wait for the oven to finish preheating to 350. At that point, we'll throw the leaves in for about 30 minutes. And so folks with much greater experience roasting Yaupon could weigh in. But the roasting times and temperatures can really vary with time to change a bit of the profile or the taste of the finished brew. And I'm sure that folks will be able to share their sweet spot recipes and preferences down in the comments below. But for our purposes here, once this is done preheating, we'll throw them in for 30 minutes and then see how they come out. All right, y'all, leaves are in the oven. 30 minutes is on the clock. This guy is gonna go down for a nap. Maybe then is the perfect moment for us to briefly discuss the history of Yaupon and why this beverage is maybe not as popular as it should be. Okay, so again, Yaupon is a holly bush native to the southeastern United States and the only known caffeinated plant in North America. Indigenous tribes such as the Timucua, Creek, and Cherokee consumed Yaupon for centuries, using it in both daily life and purification rituals. Yaupon's history is rich and varied, and I'm briefly summarizing here. So for more, please check out the very interesting piece that I'm sourcing my information from by Matt Strin on BBC Travel, which was published back in 2021. Anyways, Spanish explorers in the 16th century named it the black drink for its dark hue, and by the 17th century, it was traded and enjoyed throughout Europe, known as South Seas tea in London and Appalachian in Parisian salons. However, the popularity of Yaupon began to decline in the late 18th century due to political and economic factors. During the 1780s, the British East India Company saw Yaupon as a threat to their dominance over the tea market, and to protect their interests, they limited its importation into Europe. Adding to this, William Ayton, a botanist appointed by King George III, gave Yaupon the controversial scientific name Ilex vomitoria. While some believe this name reflected its use in Native American purification rituals, others argue it was a politically motivated attempt to damage Yaupon's reputation and discourage its consumption. As well, there was a growing association between Yaupon with poor rural communities in the mid-1800s, as it was believed that those who harvested and consumed Yaupon couldn't afford more expensive imported Chinese teas. Together, these factors led to the decline of Yaupon's popularity, and the plant's intimate connection to Native American communities also diminished as tribes were displaced, or erased for that matter, and traditional Yaupon growing areas were lost. By the late 19th century, Yaupon had largely faded from American consciousness and was forgotten for nearly 150 years. In recent years, however, there has been a resurgence of interest in Yaupon tea. Entrepreneurs and various farmers are working to revive this ancient beverage, promoting sustainable harvesting while hopefully honoring its indigenous roots. Today, Yaupon tea is making a bit of a comeback as it's appreciated for its unique flavor and historical significance. All right, let's get back to brewing. All right, about to pull these leaves out after 30 minutes. I'll say I'm smelling a bit of a nutty quality to them, so it'll be interesting to see how they look. Okay, leaves are roasted. We'll let them cool for a bit before we crush them up, and they'll be ready to brew. Got our Yaupon in here, this mesh strainer. Gonna break it up so that it's gonna resemble more so a loose leaf tea as we'd be familiar with it. So find something to do that, using a meat tenderizer here. I think we're looking pretty good there. Lost some of the finer bits, but to be expected. Of course, you could use a grinder or something different to make this more precise, but manually wasn't too hard of a job, especially for a batch as small as this. So, time to get brewing. Got the water on to 205. Measure out 2 tablespoons of the now broken down Yaupon holly leaves. Get those in a really basic diffuser. Wait for the water to heat up. All right, then hot water in. All right, 5 minutes is up. Let's see what we got. So the taste of your Yaupon tea is gonna vary based off of roasting temperatures and times. I'm not gonna claim to be an expert on manipulating the flavor profile based off of how you roast it just yet. But let's see what we got. From the look of it, It looks a little bit more like it's going to be of green tea quality than maybe a black tea. And kind of smells that way as well. And tastes that way too. So that's what we got for this round. Of course, I'd be super interested to hear if you've done any experiments yourself with harvesting and roasting Yaupon leaves. Of course, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're interested in more Texas native plants that are edibles. We've talked already about a few others here on the channel thus far, so you can check out other relevant videos like those down below. And lastly, if you're interested in integrating more Texas native plants to your own landscape but don't know where to get started, highly consider booking a Texas-sized native plant consult with myself, or likewise having me build a custom plant list for you and your property. You can find links to check out those services and learn more about them down below. All right, y'all. Until next time.